Okej, przyszedłem. Moi drodzy, mamy kwestię Thomasa Nortona, ale jest jeszcze jedna, którą za chwilę poruszymy, mianowicie osoby, która go szantażowała zdjęciem. Wydaje mi się to całkiem ciekawe. Ja natomiast, moi drodzy, mam nadzieję, że pamiętacie o kciuku w górę dla tej serii. Bo szczerze powiedziawszy, myślę, że jakieś 2-3 odcinki do końca głównego wątku i kolejnej historii, za którą się zabierzemy w tym wypadku. Również pewnie premiery, bo nadchodzą naprawdę ciekawe gry.
Can you satisfy my curiosity? Unfortunately, my casebook is empty on this.
Nie, kurde. Dobra, zastanówmy się. Skoro nie oni wiedzą, to może o tatuażowym intruzie, wytatuowanym intruzie tudzież wiedział będzie sam pan inspektor, któryś, jeden lub drugi.
You still here?
O,
Your problem, not mine. Don't bother someone else with this, son. I've already told you all I've learned. Your problem, not mine.
The intruder has a most peculiar tattoo on his neck, 2 lines and a point. Do you know anything about it?
You really want to know, kid? Why? You want to play a policeman or something?
I'm sure you have it in your records, so it won't hurt if I have it in mine.
In my records, it's just a tattoo, as it should be in yours. Ah, to hell with you. Suit yourself as to what you're going to do with it. Off the record, though, such tattoos are often connected to a man named Mr. Niccolo Bernadotti.
Bernadotti, you say?
A respectable businessman in Scalario. His company imports goods and wines, and smuggles everything that can be smuggled between the colonies and the mainland. His people can be identified by an obscure tattoo, just like the one over there our friend has. But these are all merely rumors, you see. If Mr. Bernadotti was a criminal, he'd be in prison now. Or hanged, right? Don't bother someone else with this, son. Your problem, not mine. I've already told you all I've learned.
The guards at the sewers were speaking about taking refugees out of the camp. Do you know anything about this, Inspector?
Less than you do, obviously.
And this doesn't bother you as an officer of the law?
I can neither punish them nor put them on the right track, if that's what you're asking. Maybe your friends at City Hall could do something about it, but I seriously doubt that. To be honest, I'm sick and tired of being frowned on for my uniform. If those fine gentlemen you've eavesdropped on are in some shady business, that's on their heads.
kluczowe dowody. Ha.
I owe you a lot, Mr. Holmes.
Wszystkie dowody mamy, okej.
Sherry, wait. You might want to settle all the matters in the camp before leaving. You probably won't be coming back here anytime soon.
Dobra, jeszcze mamy chwilę, to możemy dopytać co nieco. A żeby dopytać...
Can I ask you a question?
They often take us from the camps to work. Most don't mind, though. It's the only way we get a glimpse of freedom.
Według uchodźców podejrzani ludzie przychodzą do domu w regularnych odstępach czasu, zabierając z sobą uchodźców do różnych prac. O.
So there's a smuggling ring in the camp. This wasn't the first time that someone freely entered the camp to take a refugee out.
At least it was certainly his last time. My gut tells me that we'll learn more about this ring when we find out where the thug came from.
Okej, teraz już wszystko wiemy. Teraz już mamy wszystko. Szajka przemytników. Szukamy przestępców, więc będzie nam potrzebne archiwum policyjne. Definitywnie. Dobra, to frniemy i robimy tak. Przestępstwa. Przemyt. Podejrzani. Scaladio. Niccolo Bernadotti, urodzony w 1834 roku. Założyciel, właściciel Bernadotti Company. Południowo-wschodnia część dzielnicy Scaladio przy Brasseros, skrzyżowanie Roman Road. Okej. Skrzyżowanie Baza Road i Roman Road. Dobra. Ha.
It seems they're not expecting guests.
Could you help me?
I'm sorry, but I've never heard of that.
Zamknięte. Idziemy tam tyłem? Zaraz się dowiemy. Ale rzeźnia, naprawdę się tu nie dostanę? Serio? Czyżby tu? O kurde. Okej. To będzie ciekawe.
Are you able to help me?
I'm sorry, but I've never heard of that.
Uzbrojeni po zęby.
These workers don't look like your average Cordona folk.
They're refugees from the camp.
That's our way in, Sherry.
Dobra. Dzień dobry.
Hey, yo. This is private property. You lost something.
Okej, jestem prywatnym detektywem, bądźmy szczerzy.
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm investigating a robbery, and Mr. Bernadotte may be just the man to help me with.
You're a copper.
I have nothing to do with the police.
Mr. Bernadotte isn't seeing anyone. You have 3 seconds to walk away or you'll never walk again. Capito?
It's in Mr. Bernadotte's best interest to...
1.
Ha. A co tam?
to try to resolve this peacefully.
O kurde, zapomniałem, że tak się da wejść. No nic, to postrzelajmy. Tego dawno nie było. Mamy go. Bij gościa.
Don't cry, you'll live.
Give him the pepper snuff.
Wszyscy. To give him the pepper snuff. Bez sensu. Ale dało radę. Dało radę. Dobra. Niccolo Bernadotti. Hapadi pupidi papidi papa.
Sherry, look. This seems familiar.
What?
Let's see what's hidden there. Vogel's stolen painting. Isn't it curious how it developed into a much more interesting case?
Huh.
Masks, traditional for the Chokwe people of Central Africa. A Dogon statue from West Africa. A century old at least. VH Grindley Flow Blue tableware. This is what lies behind the facade of Bernadotte Company Limited.
O, czółko.
No, sir. Don't hurt me.
It's all right. I won't harm you.
Like you didn't harm the folks on the way here?
Cicho, tam dobrze poszło.
An amazing piece of culture. I imagine many collectors and museums would be interested in having it.
This marble fella. It's like he was made after my image. You see it?
Don't come any closer. One step and I'll shred you to pieces.
O kurde.
Keep standing in my way and no one will ever see you again.
Right, so, yes. Yep, well, excuse me, sir. I think I hear... I've got to... It's better I leave.
Whoa. Oh, wow. That was as if somebody put my words in your mouth.
Było dobre. A to czemu powiązanie ze sterowcem? O kurde. Resources, logistics. I nic, czy idziemy tutaj?
This is it. This is where all the magic happens.
No proszę.
I suppose it's Mr. Bernadotte with our fine governor. (1875) was taken a few years back. John, how many people in Cordona have a photograph with the governor, do you think?
You definitely
Please
don't
don't
have
shoot me. I have a family. Spare me.
Zaproszenie na bal.
Spare me.
Spokojnie, też nie będę strzelał.
So, you've cut through all the guards just to talk to me. Then come here, and we shall talk.
To ciekawe. No to pogadajmy.
Whenever you're ready. I'd hate to intrude.
Czyżby pan Bernadotti? Tatuaż gangu inny niż u reszty. Cierpiono pelagrę. Zachowuje zimną krew. Żonaty. W butach nic nie wniosę. Nie boi się brudnej roboty. No cóż, wyrachowany mózg gangu. Niccolo Bernadotti, surowy przywódca gangu, wyrachowany przedsiębiorca.
Niccolo Bernadotti, I presume? The name is Sherlock Holmes, and I'm afraid I bring bad tidings.
Is that so?
The man you sent to the refugee camp failed in his task. He impaled himself on his own blade. Clumsy and chaotic end.
For a man who just broke onto my property, you are more businessman than brute. You have my attention, Mr. Holmes. Do not waste it.
Mr. Bernadotti, do you know the name Boniface Mercurio?
I do not.
Mercurio was a local artist. Recently, a man broke into his apartment, ransacked the place, and killed him. The thief was looking for something.
You are testing my patience, boy.
In a moment, the connection will reveal itself. As I said, your man was found dead in the refugee camp. He was there to kidnap a woman, but the other refugees intervened to try and save her. The ensuing scuffle resulted in the man's accidental suicide. He sported the same tattoo as your men in this building. In fact, it also bears a resemblance to the one on your neck. Care to explain what business your man had with this woman?
You have no idea what you are talking about. I can assure you this was no kidnapping. The refugees in the camp are on edge. What happened there is a tragic accident, one I am not responsible for.
For what reason was your man there if not to abduct her?
Why would I answer? You are yet to justify your presence in the slightest.
O kurde, myślicie, że on... O, mam pewien pomysł.
I was hired, privately, to investigate the recent theft of a painting from an art gallery. My investigation led me to a man from your organization, and thus, to you, Mr. Bernadotti.
That is quite a stretch. Why would I need to steal a painting when I could buy anyone I wanted?
Interestingly enough, I spotted the stolen painting in your storeroom.
I buy and sell a lot of things, Mr. Holmes. Unfortunately, if this is true, it is not the first time I have been sold stolen merchandise. I presume you were hired by the owner of the gallery. Tell them to contact me, and we'll sort out the situation. So, this painting is why you broke into my office. So many words, so little action. When you barged into my office, Mr. Holmes, I got the impression you wanted to talk business. Now I see you had come just to talk. Tell me exactly what you want, or get out.
It was necessary groundwork for what comes next. I have enough evidence to conclude that the gallery thief, the artist's killer, and the dead man in the camp are all the same person.
Your time is almost up, Mr. Holmes.
Before you draw your gun, there is one final detail I am yet to mention. The young woman your man was tasked to collect from the refugee camp had been defiled at a perverse masquerade party. That violation was captured in a photograph by Boniface Mercurio and used as a reference for his painting. The photo shows the attacker's face.
Finally. That's why you're here, Mr. Holmes. You have the photograph.
It is what your man was after when he broke into Mercurio's apartment, and it is what you're after too, isn't it, Mr. Bernadotti?
You have the photograph with you. How much do you want for it?
I am not naive enough to carry it with me, but I am yet to decide what I shall do with it. I know the man in the photo is a British envoy. What interest do you have in his downfall?
I must admit, I am rather impressed by how comprehensively you have pursued this matter. And so you deserve the honest answer. My business dealings are often arduous in their bureaucracy. A man in his position, willing to look the other way, could ease my work significantly. In return, I will make sure no one looks his way either. A favor for a favor.
Also known as blackmail, the modus operandi of any true professional.
It was not originally my idea. Mercurio set things in motion, extorting the envoy for the most trivial of ends. Money. In response, the envoy hired my man to retrieve the painting and the photograph, eliminating Mercurio's leverage. I only learned the whole story after the artist was killed in his home.
And rather than extricate yourself, instead you took over Mercurio's venture.
It fell into my lap. As a businessman, I simply seized the opportunity. Now, how much do you want for the image?
I could not help but appreciate the collection of smuggled artifacts in your storeroom. You have rather diversified your business.
Oh, high and mighty of you, Mr. Holmes. Not all smuggling is immoral. I pay generous rates to developing cultures and spread their culture to eager buyers. And furthermore, I supply many immigrants with a taste of home.
A very convenient way of thinking.
I have traveled wildly, Mr. Holmes. I've seen people in far-flung lands for whom my services are a lifeline. Without them, they would starve. The tax on cargo is often so absurd that it would be more profitable to simply sink your ship than dock it in the harbor. And trust me, I am speaking from experience.
Why did you send your man to remove the woman from the camp?
Without a photograph, her testimony was the next best thing. Securing her was in everyone's interest. Victims and witnesses all too often disappeared. I thought the girl was safer with us. I did not anticipate what would happen at the camp.
I saw refugees from the camp at your warehouse. They work for you.
I have made certain arrangements with City Hall and the police. Thanks to me, refugees can work and be paid. It's a pathway to freedom.
And how much do you save by capitalizing on their cheap labor?
I have heard no complaints. They seem happy just to get out of that slum.
Why should I give you the photograph?
Just name your price.
What if my price were not money? You claim to have connections, Mr. Bernadotte. Perhaps you could improve conditions for the refugees. Give them a chance for a better life.
Ha! I do have connections, Mr. Holmes, but help the whole camp? You are asking too much. I could, however, make arrangements for one person. The woman who was violated will have her own home outside the camp, solely for her and her child. She will no longer be a refugee, but a princess. That I can guarantee.
Is that really possible?
It will be neither fast nor easy, but I can do it. She deserves it, don't you agree? And as for her abuser, he will serve me, as much as he deserves.
So, in your plan, everybody will be given their due. Especially you, Mr. Bernadotte.
Seems like a fair deal, no? I doubt anyone could offer you better. Simply give me the photograph, and the world becomes a better place. I give you my word.
Ha. Ale jaja. To będzie trudne. To będzie trudne. Materiał na szantaż. No właśnie. Teraz kwestia tego, czy ofiary systemu czy może Nila. Czyli kwestia tylko i wyłącznie tego, czy chcemy, żeby Nina została, że będzie bezpieczna razem z dzieckiem, czy wszyscy uchodźcy są ofiarami systemu. Sytuacja, w której się znajdują, musi zostać poprawiona. O kurde, trudna sprawa. Definitywnie trudna sprawa. Myślę, że ona szczerze nie chce już mieć do czynienia z białymi. W sensie nie chce mieć takiego, wiecie, poczucia, że kolejny jest na białym koniu przychodzi, nie? Tak naprawdę wszyscy uchodźcy są ofiarami systemu. I wydaje mi się, że jeżeli poprawiona zostanie ich okazy, ich jakby, wiecie, pozycja i będą mogli uczciwie pracować, mieszkać na kordonie, to trochę może być inaczej. Nie mam pojęcia co myśleć, bo z drugiej strony jestem detektywem, a nie politykiem, nie? I tak naprawdę los uchodźców to nie jest moja sprawa. Za to sprawiedliwość. Owszem, wysłannik pragnie zatrzeć ślady, no właśnie. A przez to, że on nie chciał nic zrobić. Nie, wiecie co? On nie chciał nic zrobić. Gość nie chciał zrobić nic, żeby pomóc. Albo naprawić to, co zrobił. Chciał tylko chronić swoją reputację. Jesteśmy detektywem. Powinniśmy działać w tę stronę, wydaje mi się. Tak, definitywnie wydaje mi się, że to jest najlepsza sprawa.
The front door's now open, sir. You can leave through it. If you want, of course.
Oczywiście, że tak. Dobra, i stąd frunę w kierunku następującym. Dojdziemy do Vogla. Uchodźcie, to nie moja sprawa, moi drodzy. Nie możemy też jakby, wiecie, bawić się w materiał napędowy dla szantażysty, czy może też dla polityka. Bardziej zależy nam na tym, żeby po prostu ten, kto zawinił, kto popełnił zbrodnię, odpowiedział za to.
Mr. Holmes, you've returned. Have you uncovered anything new about the theft?
A ten gość jest creepy.
I've brought news, but not all of it will please you.
Fill me in, Mr. Holmes. I won't shoot the messenger.
I tracked down Boniface Mercurio.
I presume he wasn't delighted about the situation.
He was not having a good day on account of his murder. Killed in his own flat by the same person that stole his painting.
Oh, sweet Mercurio. Perishing in the pursuit of his art. How apt. I will miss his exceptional sense of humor.
Dziwne wrażenie.
I located the thief, but found him rather cold. He was tight-lipped about the painting, too.
He's dead. How very droll, Mr. Holmes. Warren presumes you were not responsible.
It was an accident at the refugee camp. He impaled himself on his own knife.
Life is nothing if not cruel and capricious. What about the stolen painting? Have you located it?
Ciekawe jest to, że ilekroć z nim rozmawiałem, mam wrażenie, że to w ogóle jest głównym złym w tej grze. Taką ma aurę.
I found the painting, but I could not retrieve it.
Well then, where is it?
In Bernadotti's office.
Bernadotti? That shady businessman? Why would he steal it from me?
I'm afraid you'll have to ask him yourself.
I take it you found something more then.
I found the source of Mercurio's artistic inspiration. A photograph. What troubled me was that the sexual act captured was non-consensual.
She was violated? Dear God, how despicable.
Her abuser was in fact the British envoy. Mercurio took a picture of him committing the atrocity and then used it as artistic inspiration.
I had no idea a mere break-in would eventually expose such barbarity.
Mr. Vogel, I want you to make everything public, including the photograph. I'm sure you have a connection at the Cordona Chronicle.
Mr. Holmes, loyal to your own truth till the end. Yes, I'm acquainted with the staff of the Chronicle. The story is sensational, and will surely draw attention to the gallery. But you must be aware that exposing the scandal will further hurt the victim. Does that not bother you?
No matter what one does, the truth tends to come out, as well it should. I won't be the one to stand in its way.
Though it's only your subjective truth being exposed. Not that I'm judging. It's perfectly reasonable for everyone to have their own views.
When you called me, you knew exactly what you would get.
Oh, but I'm not like you, Mr. Holmes. I cannot be sure of anything. Regardless, I must thank you, for art's sake. Well, now that we've resolved all of our outstanding matters, I have a gift for you. I took the liberty of having it delivered to Stonewood Manor. I am told it belonged to your mother.
And what exactly have you sent me?
Frankly, I'm not sure how to answer that. I trust you'll know.
Previously, you mentioned there may have been more to my mother's passing than consumption. It appears you were right.
Oh dear. I'd hoped to be wrong.
She was unstable, mentally unwell. She required sustained, specialized treatment, but her madness persisted.
I knew that Violet had disappeared from the public eye, but had no idea of her suffering. I cannot imagine what you're feeling.
I'm fine. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. I am curious to see what you have procured.
Zakończyliśmy sprawę. Nie jestem usatysfakcjonowany za bardzo, bo chciałbym pomóc, ale też, no, prawda musi wyjść na jaw. Nie może być tak, że wysoko postawiono ale jeżeli mamy okazję udupić wysoko postawionego urzędnika, który ewidentnie jest potworem, no to żal tego nie ruszyć, nie? Do hacjendy. W niej rzekomo coś tam nie czeka, tak? Poza tym, że nadzwyczaj uparty gość. O tutaj. O kurde.
Just look at this thing. It's huge.
It's a bizarre object, and yet oddly familiar.
To syrena? Jesus Christ.
Did you just remember something?
Yes. A room full of curiosities and artifacts. I think I can find it in the manor.
Sherlock. So, you continue to pursue the imaginary. I had hoped you might have got all this out of your system by now.
Mycroft, what are you doing here? Get out of my house.
It's my house, actually. I've come to bring you back.
I have no interest in returning, let alone with you. I know you lied about Mother all these years, claiming she was merely ill, but she was unstable. She never had tuberculosis. She was not recuperating, but mentally deteriorating, and you never once thought to tell me. How dare you?
I shall not indulge this petulant tantrum. You can just tire yourself out and then slink back to London with your tail between your legs.
Just tell me everything. I'm an adult now. Show me the basic courtesy of an explanation. You know I will find out eventually.
The goal was stability, and that's what you got. The right thing for everyone was to try and move on from her passing.
The consequences of one's actions determines what is right or wrong.
Yes, exactly. The ends justify the means. After leaving Cordona, Sherlock, you had a normal childhood. In London, I was able to support you, guide you, shape you into a fine and productive young man. You have so much potential, so much to offer society.
But that's not the end. Now I found the truth, and it has shattered everything I knew about her, about you, and about myself. I feel unstable because of you. Your actions were not justified. Lying never is.
Oh, grow up, Sherlock. It was a white lie which has as much use in the realm of the interpersonal as the international. It is time you come to accept that some things are bigger than yourself.
Oh, you are full of it. You like to pretend you care about the big picture, but it's just an ego trip. You like knowing more than others. You like greasing palms and rubbing shoulders with the rich and powerful. You like having eyes and ears everywhere. The fact it helps the nation is incidental, because all you care about is yourself.
It's true. I have agents everywhere, including Cordona. If you weren't so damn stubborn, you'd realize that means I'm only here for you.
Okej. To możemy wejść do posiadłości. Teraz pytanie, który to będzie pokój? Ten otworzyliśmy. Tamten otworzyliśmy. Rozumiem, że przy obrazie. Nie wszystko jasne.
I remember returning home with a pair of perfect sticks. We wanted to turn them into training swords.
Oh, that's right. We stood there, frozen, staring at something huge in the main hall. It was a giant aquarium with a living mermaid in it.
Impossible, it must have been something else. Oh, of course, that mortifying hoax presently taking up space in our front yard.
Well, fine. Your memory's better than mine. But I'm sure we started examining it immediately. And someone else was around too.
A kto taki?
It was my mother. She asked what I thought of the artifact.
You were really concentrating and holding something in your hand.
I inspected it with a magnifying glass and was able to confirm it was made of two different skeletons. The mermaid was a fake.
And so it was time to smash the thing. Your mother took a hammer and...
Slow down, John. That's not how it happened. I remember other people joined us. The workers took the artifact and placed it into the cabinet of curiosities. It became part of Mother's collection of fakes. She always said that the truth lies in the details. This mermaid helped me to learn that.
No proszę.
Ah yes, my mother's studio. She was an authenticator and this was her cabinet of curiosities.
I never saw the point. What does it matter if some artifact is real or not? It still exists.
Poniekąd. Ma rację.
Mother said this was among the hunting trophies of a Scottish Viscount.
So he tried to persuade everyone that his forest was inhabited by these beasts. It would have been thrilling if it were actually true.
The full plate armour of Sir Robert Saunford. I was told my father won it in a wager.
Armour is armour, but look at his sword. Oh, how badly I wanted to wield the blade. Maybe you take it instead of your pistol.
And this one was brought from a German museum. They claimed it belonged to Vikings. Nonsense, of course. Vikings never had horns on their helmets.
Pani Holmes to dość interesująca pacjentka, idealny obiekt badań naszych poszukiwań w kwestii moich teorii. Podejmę próbę wielokrotnego przypominania jej o traumatycznej sytuacji, która stała się bezpośrednią podstawą rozwoju jej choroby umysłowej. Jestem zdania, że przeżywanie tego, co się wydarzyło wiele razy, daje szansę pogodzić się z losem, zaakceptować to, co się stało, co w efekcie doprowadzi do wyleczenia choroby. Jestem pewien swojej hipotezy, muszę ją po prostu udowodnić. Ponadto przebywanie z innymi członkami rodziny Holmesów to sprzyjające okoliczności do badań. Być może będę w stanie zająć się kwestią dziedziczności cech psychologicznych, niezależnie od tego, czy mowa jest o kompetencjach, czy też zaburzeniach. Już teraz oczywistym jest, że wszyscy członkowie tej rodziny wyróżniają się niezwykle imponującą inteligencją. Wygląda na to, że stan, w jakim znajduje się matka, zaczął wpływać na umysł najmłodszego z braci, Sherlocka. Nie jestem w stanie go dokładnie zbadać ze względu na bardzo troskliwy charakter starszego syna pani Holmes, ale wszystko wskazuje na to, że chłopiec cierpi na halucynacje, które przybrały postać niewidzialnego przyjaciela Johna. No proszę. Zniszczony dyplom znaleziony w gabinecie osobliwości. Ktoś umyślnie podarł go na kilka kawałków. W imieniu Rady Uniwersytetu Gdańskiego w Szwajcarii, my, rektorzy Uniwersytetu, biorąc pod uwagę fakt, iż pan Otto Richter spełni wszystkie stawiane mu wymagane prawem warunki, nadaje mu niższy tytuł doktora nauk.
Clearly, it was deliberately torn. I wonder why someone would do that. The Tulpa. Studies in Tibetan Mentalism. An impressive number of bookmarks. Someone was rather obsessed with this subject.
Mój drogi bracie, doszły mnie słuchy, że przybyłeś niedawno na Kordonecz. Przyjechałeś mnie odwiedzić, tęsknię za naszymi wieczornymi rozmowami, nawet jeśli nie zgadzaliśmy się w żadnej kwestii. Na Kordonie znajdziesz pewną nową, zachwycającą zmysł galerię sztuki, którą odwiedzam co czwartek. Spotkajmy się tam. Oj, nie szukaj Klausa, porzuciłem to imię. List od brata Ottona Richtera. Ciekawe.
The so-called mummy of a Persian princess. The defrauders did good work, but missed one small detail. It's the mummy of a man.
Mały detal.
Look, it's Roger. This jolly old man's well preserved. Even looks refreshed.
I doubt he drew much interest at the auction.
That's for the best. I'd be upset if he fell into the wrong hands.
1852, Bingley, West Yorkshire. This photo caused a lot of fuss. My mother spent some time to prove it was a fake.
Drogi panie Holmes, proszę przyjąć ode mnie wyrazy wdzięczności za pańską pomoc w tamtej osobistej sprawie, aż drżę na myśl o tym, co mogłoby się stać, gdyby nie pański bystry wzrok i umysł. Sędzia McDougall. Okej.
So many calling cards. Mycroft liked to keep useful people at hand. Reliable and driven. I recognize Mycroft's handwriting. Officer Luciano J. Placido. This drawer was always closed. Only Mycroft knew how to open it.
I remember we tried to break it open and spy on him, but alas, had no success. Maybe today's the day. Oh, Sherry.
Dated 24th of April, 1869. Carefully opened.
Szanowny panie Mycroft Holmes, ratusz miasta Coldonish informuje sprawę udziału doktora Tonelstera śmierci pani Valley została przydzielona sędziemu McDougalowi. Pańskie podanie o zamknięte przesłuchanie zostało przyjęte. Zostanie pan niniejszym poinformowany, iż prokurator wzywa pana do stawienia się na sprawie doktora Echtera w sprawie charakterze głównego świadka. Ma pan obowiązek stawić się w sądzie karnym Gordonu w dniach wyznaczonych na zwrocie pisma.
I'm starting to remember something.
O proszę. Jeszcze parę rzeczy możemy wybadać.
Oh, I remember these. We used them to spar together until Mycroft found out and forbade us from using real weapons. Watkinson and Holman, Chapter One, by Wallace Dioram.
Oh, Mycroft. He always acts so serious, but then reads tripe like this.
John, if I remember correctly, you couldn't put this book down.
Holmes i Watson.
Another fake Holy Grail. Its owner claimed to be the heir of King Arthur. Scarcely believable. He also insisted a deadly rabbit was hunting him. One of the most ridiculous fakes I ever saw. Its owner insisted it was a polar bear. He thought the white paint on the brown fur wasn't noticeable.
It's a pity how many amazing things are missing from this room.
Bardziej mnie zaskakujesz, co już wszystko? Chyba tak.
I remember this cozy blanket. It's perfect for...
Wigwam! Oh, that was a joy to build them. Imagining ourselves as wayfarers on the other side of the world.
Wypadek w gabinecie osobliwości.
I used this ladder to look at the top shelf, right? On the day of Mother's breakdown upstairs.
Right you are, Sherry.
Ciekawe.
We heard a noise. I can't recall of exactly what, and we didn't have a great view from behind the statue. The books and papers from the table somehow ended up on the floor. Now it's coming to the surface. I feel it.
No to układaj. Co jest? Czego mnie wyrzuciło z Johna? No, tak myślałem. A tu Richter. No nie, raczej nie.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
No i bingo.
Come on, Sherry. Let's go outside. Wait. Did you hear that? Come here, Sherry. You call this progress? Charlatan, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
So there was a quarrel between them.
Stało się to niedługo po incydencie w pokoju Violet, który miał miejsce 9 kwietnia. Sherlock postanowił pobawić się artefaktami w gabinecie osobliwości i ja oczywiście poszedłem razem z nim. Niechcący staliśmy się świadkami kłótni Mycrofta z Ottonem Richterem. Brat Sherlocka był zły, był pewien, że dr Richter zalecił ich matce wątpliwą kurację i coś poszło mocno nie tak. Nazwał Ottona szarlatanem.
Mother said this was among the hunting trophies of a Scottish
O
viscount.
nie, już mnie nie interesuje. Kolejni goście.
Sherry, look! We've got a parcel here. Hurry up and let's see what's inside.
Drogi panie Holmes, czekam na pana w posiadłości Kurta Mankiosa przy Turkes Lane, naprzeciwko budynku opactwa północnej części Grand Surrey. Proszę przybyć od razu. Jeśli pan nie jest w stanie, też proszę przyjść. Pański przyjaciel na zawsze, Vernel Vogel. Wysłałem panu odpowiedni strój, by mógł pan uniknąć niepotrzebnych komplikacji. Mam nadzieję, że pasuje.
An invitation that comes with a mask. We can't miss this, Sherry.
Ofiarne jagnię. No i zaczynamy kolejną misję. Moi drodzy, mam nadzieję natomiast, że odcinek Sherlocka wam się podobał. Jeżeli tak, pamiętajcie o kciuku w górę, będę mega wdzięczny. Wspierajcie tę serię. Tymczasem ode mnie w tym odcinku to tyle. Mam nadzieję, że się wam podobało. Pamiętajcie, że moje odcinki powstały dzięki wsparciu patronów z Patronite'a, do którego link znajdziecie na ekranie i poniżej. Ponadto pamiętajcie o kciuku w górę i tym, że odcinki na kanale pojawiają się codziennie o 16 i 19. Śledźcie Facebooka i Instagrama, żeby być na bieżąco, oraz Twitcha, jeżeli chcecie oglądać mnie na żywo prawie codziennie. Tymczasem trzymajcie je ciepło i do miłego usłyszenia.